We are recording now. Hello,
Nice.
welcome to Mostly Nonsense with me and some other guy. So,
All right, let's get this show started, man.
okay,
I've been looking forward to this next one.
yeah,
It's been quite a while since we did the last one, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
it has been like maybe 2 weeks. Exams. It was exam season.
I think it was actually longer than 2 weeks. I think it's been about three. But
Really?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Well,
man.
exams are done. I have
Yeah,
some more free time now. How's your week
nice.
been going?
It's all right. Just relaxing, trying to figure out what to do with my life.
Yeah, you should play Ghost of Tsushima just for the
Ah,
rest of your life. You know, if you beat the game, you unlock New Game Plus. And then what more do
ah,
you need? Yeah,
fancy, fancy. Yeah, man. All right. So, first topic of the day, man. You want to go first?
sure. Let me unlock my phone and take a look at my topics. So, oh yeah. So this I have in my Samsung notes, it just says Venezuelan man shipped to El Salvador after taking wrong turn. Did
What?
you hear did you hear about that?
No, that seems crazy.
It's
So
real.
so what? They just thought he was.
I'm going to find the good article
Hmm.
that summarized this and read it or give you the synopsis. So basically, there
Hmm.
was a Venezuelan immigrant in the USA, okay, in the United States of America, and he
Yeah.
was a legally documented immigrant. And then he made a, honestly, he did something really stupid. He took a wrong turn in Detroit, where he lives as a delivery driver. I probably on like an app like Uber Eats, it sounds. And anyways, he took a wrong turn and ended up on the Ambassador Bridge. Do you know what the Ambassador Bridge is?
No, I don't.
The Ambassador Bridge is a bridge that lets you cross from the USA into Canada. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
he takes the wrong turn delivering this, I think it was McDonald's, and
Okay.
he accidentally crosses into Canada. Big
Oh no.
mistake. So then that's fine, but then he goes back because he lives in America. And
Yeah.
so he tries to get back into the USA, and then they stopped him, and they designated him as a member of Frente. Where's the name of this organization? You know, the Frente Aragua, right? Like
Like
Trump's always
a
talking about
gang?
them. I think technically now in the U.S., I think they're classified as a terrorist organization.
Oh
But
wow.
yes, it's like a gang or maybe more organized. But yes, it is some kind of criminal group, apparently.
Hmm.
So I have the article open. I can even share my screen with you.
Why did they designate him a member of
Oh,
that?
I have been sharing my screen with you. Okay, cool. So I'm not sure. A Venezuelan man reportedly took a wrong turn onto Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, crossing into Canada, and was allegedly detained and deported to El Salvador when he tried to return to U.S. soil. So Ricardo, a 32-year-old Venezuelan immigrant legally residing in the U.S., was working as a delivery driver in January in Detroit and had picked up an order at McDonald's when he made the wrong turn, according to New York Times, which first published the report. He was detained while attempting to re-enter the U.S. at the Detroit Windsor Tunnel. Okay, he was taken into custody and put
Hmm.
in detention before he was deported. So,
But he's
uh,
like an actual American citizen.
no,
Like
no,
he's not.
I don't.
He
Well,
he was in a.
I don't know if
Is
he's
he?
just. I don't know his
Oh yeah. So it
citizenship
says
status.
immigrant legally residing in the U.S. So he wasn't an illegal immigrant at least.
No, no, he wasn't an illegal immigrant. I don't. They don't say he was a
I
U.S.
wonder what his.
citizen.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I see. I wonder
So
what his
I
immigration status was.
maybe he
Like, was
was
he
on
on a
like a
work
work
visa? Yeah.
permit. I don't know how the U.S. system.
Yeah, I don't either really. That seems crazy though that you just like get picked up and sent to sent to El Salvador.
Yeah, but first he was brought to an ICE detainment center.
Wow.
I'm trying to find that. The reports that Prada told a friend in Chicago he was among a number of detainees. Okay, he simply disappeared, his friend said. Global News reached out to Canada Border Service Agency for further information, but since the individual was detained upon entry to the US, it had no further information. Okay, fair.
Huh.
Mm, yeah, this is just summarizing on that same evening, in that same day in March, the administration flew three planes carrying Venezuelan migrants from a Texas facility to El Salvador. So a lot
Jeez.
of people have already been shipped there.
That's crazy. That's so
Uh,
crazy. I wonder if this is like a I wonder if this is a sort of like a one-time thing, like a one-time mistake, or if this is happening a lot and it's just not getting reported effectively. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because it said there that his friends said, "Oh, he just sort of disappeared," right?
yeah,
And so if that could if you didn't have friends who were able to sort of like get in contact with the police or whoever. I don't know how this got into the sort of like the eye of the news and all this sort of stuff. But if you just sort of like disappeared one day, you know
mm,
what I mean, and got shipped away to El Salvador,
yeah.
like there's a chance
That's an
you just
incredible
never get,
point.
you know what I mean?
Because like
'Cause-
I like you, we're friends, but if you got shipped to El Salvador, I don't think I can get global like global
yeah, you know what
news.
I mean? Yeah, exactly. I don't think I could get like I don't know, man. Like yeah, that's insane. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to say that it happens a lot because I actually
I
don't
hope it's
know.
not. I bet it's not happening that often, but the fact that it's happening at all is crazy in and of itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm Googling how many innocent people.
Because what that displays is that they're shipping people off without doing any background checks to see who it is that they've got. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They just
uh,
saw like a brown guy who maybe his English isn't so good and thought, okay, this guy's probably an illegal and he's probably a criminal from El Salvador.
it's actually worse than that because it's not like he went to immigration court. So like I'll tell you what happened. Uh, if this is the right report, he went to immigration court. Yeah. So Prado was paroled into the U.S. So they allowed him to come in and served with a notice to appear before an immigration judge. Okay. On
Hmm.
January 15th, Prada was in encountered at a Detroit Windsor. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's just telling us what had happened, what they're saying. Uh, the officials are saying it happened. Okay, so uh, further investigation resulted in Prada being uh, designated a public safety threat as a confirmed member of Frente de Aragua, which is what this TDA,
Hmm.
and in violation of his conditions of admission. Prado was apprehended and transferred to ICE Michigan for detention. So
Huh.
right here, this word confirm, like
Yeah.
who's confirmed this?
Yeah. The fact that Homeland Security puts out a statement saying false, if you go back up, you see that that's a post by Homeland Security right there.
Yeah,
Below that. No, it's
right here, right?
the X thing. No, the X. The Twitter post.
Okay, okay.
That's a post by Homeland Security saying that he's a Venezuelan national and confirmed member. So that's like them posting about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like he wasn't being looked at. He was being looked at and was already in the news, and they're still saying that, yeah, they're still saying that he's not like a innocent man or whatever.
So Homeland Security is the one that's confirming this.
Yeah.
What if he is a member of Frente de Aragua? Who do I trust? Why won't I trust Homeland
Well, if
Security?
he's not even El Salvadorian,
Yeah, that's another thing. That's
like
right.
if they get that wrong, I don't know
Hold
how
on,
much
wait.
I trust the rest of it.
I wanted to. That's incredible. I was also Trenda de Aragua. Oh, it's Trend de Aragua. What countries is this thing? Is it operating in? So
Oh,
Google.
so they are Venezuelan.
It's
Okay, so if they are Venezuelan, why did they send them to El Salvador?
that's yeah. I thought I yeah. That's why I also thought they were an El Salvadorian thing.
That's confusing.
Why are Venezuelans? Let me make sure I'm recording. I am. Okay.
Nice.
Why are Ryan?
Yep.
Why are Venezuelans being sent to El Salvador?
it's, it's so crazy.
It is. Oh my God, that's so terrible. Like, I mean, yeah, like for an innocent person, this is horrendous. This is
Yeah,
really
like
scary.
yeah. I don't
My
know. This
my
is very
parents wanted to go to the U.S., but like my father also has. He's not a citizen. I mean, I don't want to like
Oh,
he
I had
has
seen
stuff.
I had seen this. So what it's saying there, where being deported to El Salvador's mega prison despite a federal judge's temporary order halting their removal. So a judge had halted the removal of these
Oh
people,
yeah, they
but
topped that.
they just like overrode him, basically, from my understanding, which seems kind
Yeah,
of
look at
crazy
this.
in and of itself as well.
Look at this, dude. Let me try and find. Okay. So it's this guy. When Bo Asberg was told there were already plans in the air, there are already planes, sorry, in the air headed to El Salvador, which has agreed to house deported migrants in a notorious prison. The judge said the aircraft needed to be returned to the United States. Hours later, El Salvador's president, this guy, announced that the deportees had arrived in his country in a social media post. As he said, "Oopsie, too late," along with a laughing emoji, which was the article referencing Rosenberg. So that's the tweet right here.
That's such a callous way to address a situation that has maybe permanently altered those people's lives.
Oh, 100%. Even if,
Oopsie,
I mean,
too late, and an emoji. Like he's supposed to be a leader of an entire country, and that's how he goes about things. Like it's a serious situation, and
I
he's
think it would
treating it like
also like like okay, like if you're part of
it's just so
uh
callous.
on a like I'm not for the people who have been innocently detained in this super prison, especially, I think
Mm.
that even if you're only in there for 24 hours, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to easily forget about the 24 hours I
Well,
was inside of a super prison.
well,
You
let's
know what
take
I
it
mean?
back a step further. The people who are
Yeah.
detained, just getting sent to the ICE detention center,
Oh
if you're
yeah,
not
even
meant
that.
to be there, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
supposed
that's
to
a
be
good
like your
point.
country, that's supposed to be like protecting you. You have some freedoms and stuff like that, and then your freedoms are just overridden.
That's uh that's what I was saying. Like my parents wanted to take a trip to the US, but my father has an accent. I'm like, then maybe you shouldn't like go there.
Yeah,
You should
maybe
chill
wait
out.
a little bit, yeah,
Yeah, maybe you just like vibe a little bit somewhere else.
before you get sent to El Salvador.
That would be like terrifying.
Listen, you get a 2-for-1 deal.
Two
Two
for one.
vacations for the price of one.
Oh God, that's
You
so
get a
fucked
trip
up.
to US and a trip to El Salvador.
Oh my God,
That's
that's I don't even
it's
know
so
what to say.
crazy. It's so crazy.
Well, if you're interested, Tren de Aragua was founded in Venezuela in 2014, right? So they're a new money organization. They're not old money, and they have territory. But I don't know what that means. I guess I know what it means, but
Oh,
anyways,
so they just have people in all those countries.
yeah, they're like Mr. Worldwide. Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Peru, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, United States, and Venezuela.
Yeah. Nowhere there does it say El Salvador.
That's uh that's a great point. If
I wonder how it looked from El Salvador's side.
what
So
do you
when they
mean?
received this plane full of people,
Yeah,
how did they process them? Did they just
I
take them and throw them in jail based off of what Homeland Security had said they were like? Because like were these people who the other people other than the innocent ones, had they already been tried in court and given time? Because
I don't know.
if they were just automatically sent to jail, right? Like how long, if this hadn't gotten to the news, how long would they have spent in jail? Because I know Nayib Bukele or Bukele said that, or he's been like throwing a lot of people in jail um, during his presidency, or yeah, I guess he's the president. And is that is it like as soon as you're part of a gang, you're automatically getting a certain number of years or something? Like, how are they processing these people, and how are they like? Because their courts must be just swamped. Because he's just put so many people in jail. You know what I mean?
I have a feeling with the way things are moving that in my life, when things move fast, I do less due diligence. So
Yeah,
probably there's a lot of individual people such as me who are not doing everything they should be doing, but I don't know the full extent of it.
yeah, yeah. Because it seems like I understand the problem that they were faced with. Like they had such a bad crime problem,
Yeah,
but it kind of it becomes a situation where extreme measures are needed. You know what I mean? The problem
yeah.
is when the extreme measures are no longer needed, will he stop using them? You know what I mean? And then actually allow the courts to figure things out and stuff like that. I don't know if what he's done is the right decision or not. I don't know enough about El Salvador to be able to say that or not. But when it comes to just sort of throwing people in jail, that kind of starts looking more and more like the actions of a tyrant. You know what I mean?
Yes, I also have no idea.
His
So,
approval ratings are supposedly pretty high, though, from my
yeah,
understanding.
are you also looking at the same screen I'm looking at?
I'm
Because
just
I
looking
also,
at the screen
yeah.
sharing, so I'm looking at what you're looking at.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he is popular among the public apparently. But like, I don't
Okay.
know if that's true, right? Like, what are the sources here?
Well, I've heard because I watched a video about him, and I've
Mhm.
heard that his approval ratings are really high because it's way safer there now. Like they had such a bad crime and like murder rate, and so
Yeah.
once he's like locked all these people up, that's obviously gone down significantly. But he's a he's a crypto bro, so he
Yeah.
has other ideas that aren't necessarily like going to be good for their economy, I don't think. Like
Well, I don't.
he tried to, I think we talked about this briefly in
Yeah.
the last episode where he
Yeah.
tried to institute a like
I
a
don't think
crypto a
he
way for,
tried.
he basically had it so that every business had to accept crypto, but
Yeah,
it
but I
didn't work.
think no, I thought did it not work? Like, is it not the law anymore?
Well, it was in the law, I think, but the problem was that they instituted it too quick and the actual app was kind of broken and people themselves weren't willing to use crypto because they didn't trust it really. I think that
Oh,
there was a lot of problems with the way they implemented it.
hmm.
Didn't he also buy like a Bitcoin reserve?
I I I I have no idea. I mean, like, if you make Bitcoin your official one of your official currencies, then it makes sense, I guess, to have a Bitcoin reserve.
Because he's a big crypto guy. Like even before getting into politics, I think he was like big into crypto.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was pretty sure that they had like bought a bunch of I don't know if it was Bitcoin, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so they got a reserve of over 6,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And they bought it at a good price too.
And you know what the cool thing, not that I want to like be a huge crypto bro, but you
Yeah.
know what's I bet it's easier to audit a Bitcoin reserve than it is to audit the gold reserve
How
because
so?
everything's on the public. I mean, of course, it depends how they keep, like, huge caveat, it depends how they keep the currency, but if you have it on the blockchain, then it's
What is
easy to see.
what does auditing a reserve look like? Like what are they
So,
looking for? What are you looking for when you audit a reserve?
so I'm not going to do auditors justice, but I'm going to try. So when you audit something, so basically the reserve probably has like an internal balance sheet and or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it's even referenced somewhere. But like
Hmm.
for sure, the people who work there have it on some balance sheet. Like, hey, this
Some
is what we
accounting.
have. Yeah, like almost they have to.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I don't know if those numbers are released or not, or where they are released. But there are numbers thrown around where the like they say this is how much the reserve has. So I guess every now and then the reserve tells them, yeah, this is how much should be there.
So the
But
reserve, so the auditing is just to make sure that nobody's stolen any of it?
no, well, that's a one potential implication, but the purpose of an audit is to verify that every number on the balance sheet or any financial statement for that matter is accurate. So, for example, if the Federal Reserve had a balance sheet that listed X amount of gold as an asset, the auditors would go in there and say, like all the gold that we have here, is it reflected on the balance sheet? The number on the balance sheet, is it accurate to the amount of gold we have here? And are we evaluating the price of gold fairly? So it's to
Hmm.
make sure that everything is actually there and no one's stolen it or it's been lost. And also to make sure that nothing's been miscounted, for example.
Mm-hmm. So
And
for with like gold reserves, they would just have like, I guess I don't know how they actually store it. I'm assuming they've just got a giant safe somewhere, and
I
then
don't
you just put all
know.
the gold in it and then protect it, and that's your gold reserve. For
Uh,
Bitcoin, would you
but
just have
hold on a moment.
a bunch of USBs with with BTC on them
But
in
hold
a,
on one moment. I want
yeah?
to address something you said because I think I heard that the U.S. Reserve does like lend their gold, and I don't know if that's
Oh,
true, and I want to see if
interesting.
that's true. Like, I don't know if they do that. I think they do because in 2008, if you look at the price of gold, uh, like something weird happened. And oh, I guess that was, I don't know if that's the reserve or if that was the federal government or if they're one entity. But I think that was because the federal government was selling a lot of gold to get money.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if the reserve is actually a separate legal thing. Oh, it can. They can lend
Huh.
out their gold reserves. So that makes auditing
So
even
who,
harder.
if you're lending out gold reserves, who are you lending them to? To other countries, I guess?
I don't know.
Because
Um,
who's going to go to the US government and say, hey, we'd like to borrow some of your gold reserves? I imagine the only people that would do that are countries. And
Probably,
what
yeah,
would be
that makes
what would
sense.
be the purpose of them borrowing the US's gold reserves? Why would another country, oh, a bank would do it, I guess? That's what that says there. But why would
A
they?
national bank, a national bank. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? That's not like the Fed. Is that like a
Bank
like
of
the Bank of
Canada,
Canada?
Fed. I think those would be,
I don't
I
think
think they would
so.
fall under a national bank.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Silly me. Okay, yeah.
But like, okay, so why would they want to, oh, guarantee to redeem promises to pay depositors? Oh, so just so that they
Um,
can pay out pay out their customers in case things go poorly.
no, but this is saying that all everything that was said over here, it says during the eras of the gold standard.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So like, what do they do? Why do they? We study business. We should know. Maybe it could be a hedge.
I feel like this is
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
a
it could
very
probably be.
simple.
Yeah, probably. Let's ask ChatGPT.
All right, let's see.
Why don't you brainstorm some ideas and see how intelligent we are? I'm I'm
Well,
sure we'll
okay. Well,
get something.
let's think. Let's take a guess here. So for a national bank, what is
Yeah.
the purpose of a national bank? If we're talking, if the
They
Fed counts as a national bank, what is the purpose?
they have various purposes, but I think generally it's to stabilize the level of inflation. And then with the US, I know that they want to stabilize inflation and have maximal employment.
Okay. So with that in mind, and a regular person can't open an account with the national bank, or can you?
No, sir, it doesn't operate
Yeah,
like a
I
bank.
didn't think so. So then, if that's the case, does a national bank allow them to have more leverage when it comes to influencing inflation and interest rates and stuff like that?
Can you please repeat that?
Would a national bank having gold allow them to influence um, inflation rates and stuff?
Well, let's think of monetary policy. The bank can sell and buy, uh, what's it called? Help me, bonds. That's one thing they can do. They can
Mhm.
also set the prime rate, or
Oh wait,
yeah. So maybe they could sell the gold for money, but that's
but wait, hold on a second here. National banks, maybe I'm wrong about this, but the customers to national banks are like regular banks, aren't they? Or
I
maybe
believe like that's maybe like a very simple way to put it, but I think so, yeah.
so in the States at least, I don't know, I don't think it's the same here, but in the States they have many, many banks.
Yeah,
And I imagine that they are made and then go under regularly. And
possibly.
And so, well, maybe not regularly, but you know what I mean. So in that case, them having a gold reserve would allow them to have more stability in terms of their own, a national bank would have more stability in terms of their ability to sort of uh, pay out customers that maybe want to.
I don't think that would
I don't
be
know
the
how, what is the relationship between a national bank and a regular bank?
uh, uh, I'm not sure. I know that the national bank can lend things to the, maybe it's because national banks are able to lend to other banks in the country in
Hmm,
order for those banks to meet their reserve requirements. So
hmm,
maybe that's why, because banks in Canada, anyways, probably in the U.S. as well, I'm almost certain,
yeah.
have a
All right,
reserve requirements.
yeah. Let's see
So
what
that
chat.
might be the
I'm
reason.
really curious now to see.
Okay. When we talk about a reserve lending gold, we're typically referring to central banks or national reserve banks that hold significant quantities of gold as part of their foreign exchange reserves. Oh,
Huh.
okay. These reserves serve as a store of value and a hedge against economic instability. No, there's something I don't understand. They lost, like, this has connotations that I don't understand.
Foreign exchange reserves? Yeah,
Yeah,
the same.
okay. I mean, I have a general idea, but anything I say is fundamentally ignorant at this point. Uh, how the question of who the reserves blend gold to and why usually involves transactions in the gold market, specifically through central bank gold loans. Here's a breakdown of how it works. Who does the reserve lend gold to? Other central banks or government entities. One of the primary parties central banks lend gold to are other central banks or government-owned entities. These loans are often part of agreements to manage liquidity and fulfill various monetary needs.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay, so like maybe reserve requirements. I don't understand how gold lends
Well,
liquidity because gold isn't very liquid or not as liquid as cash.
well, maybe it's just because they don't want to hold cash so that because it'll depreciate with inflation and whatever, but gold allows them to hold the value a little better and they can still sell it.
Possibly. That might be that's a good point. I'm gonna ask, but first I'm gonna continue reading. Central banks are and financial institutions. Sometimes central banks or reserve banks also lend gold to commercial banks or other financial institutions. In this case, they are part of a gold-backed lending arrangement. The goal is typically to manage short-term liquidity needs or settle transactions. How? It's okay. Private sector gold market. Occasionally, central banks may engage in gold lending with private financial institutions or entities involved in the gold market. Uh, though these transactions are typically more opaque and involve commercial agreements.
Hmm.
Okay, why do reserves lend gold? To earn, so from the perspective of the reserve, they do it to earn interest. Gold lending agreements. Central banks may lend out gold as part of a gold lending agreement. In return, they receive interest payments. Okay, fine, fair.
Hmm.
To facilitate liquidity in the gold market, by lending gold, central banks can ensure that gold is available to meet demand in the market, thus maintaining liquidity in the global financial system. Gold is often used as a collateral asset or for setting international debts so ensuring an adequate supply is critical. Okay, I guess I can see this. Like there are benefits to like having the gold market be more liquid, so more people use it, so that you get stability from it. Okay, I can
Mm.
see that. To help with monetary policy, central banks may lend gold to manage their own domestic monetary supply or to maintain the stability of the exchange rate. Gold can be used as collateral or part of a border currency management strategy. Huh.
Hmm. I don't understand this as well as
I
I was hoping I would.
I like this part in particular or the whole
No,
thing?
just in general. I think this is something that's probably more complicated than we were expecting. I thought it would be fairly simple,
Like this one, I'm a little bit less sure, but I'm kind of understanding it. Like maybe like where are you lost?
all of it. Okay,
I,
so I looked up
I,
what are foreign exchange reserves, and the
yeah,
Google AI overview says that foreign exchange reserves, also known as Forex or FX reserves, are a country's holdings of foreign currencies, gold, and other liquid assets held by a central bank or monetary authority. These
yeah, but
reserves are primarily used to balance payments, influence the exchange rate of the country's currency, and maintain confidence in the financial markets. So I guess for a country holding gold, it's so that they can kind of uh, adjust the value of their money,
I
if
honestly
I'm
don't know.
understanding that.
The reason I don't know is because I was supposed to learn about this
Yeah.
and I, I, I completely forgot uh, how to calculate it, and I just know that I don't like I because I was supposed to learn about this and I forgot what I learned. I just know that if I was tested on what this means, I'd get it wrong. So I have no
Mm,
idea. Like I'm not
mm.
confident with anything I'm gonna say because I'm an idiot.
No, no, you're good, bro.
Uh, yeah, we could. I want to know. I want to know like why not lend money? Because money is way more liquid than gold, and in nominal
Well, who's
terms.
saying they're not doing both?
Oh, that's a that man, that's just a terrific point. That's such a good point. I just created like a false dichotomy in my brain. Yeah, they could be doing both. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I mean th this is your point about inflation. Good point. Uh, gold is finite. Okay, fine.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, so is it primarily to meet reserve requirements? Do, 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 do. Anyways. I'm just really curious now, and then we can move on, I guess, because we're just talking about something we have no idea about. Oh, yeah, yes, meeting reserve requirements can be one of the reasons central banks or financial institutions engage in lending gold, but it's not the only reason. Okay, gold and reserve requirements. In some countries, central banks are required to hold a certain percentage of their reserves in gold, or they may choose to do so for strategic and economic reasons. Yeah, whatever lending goal could potentially help meet or optimize reserve requirements. For example, if a central bank is short of liquidity or needs to adjust its reserve mix, it might lend out gold while maintaining the appearance of a robust gold reserve.
Hmm.
Okay.
Ah, interesting. Um, we seem to have talked a lot about gold in the past couple of podcasts, which is kind of hilarious to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a time everyone's talking about gold. I'm
Yeah, I
scared
know.
to buy gold because I think the price is still at all-time highs. Would have been a
Yeah.
great idea to maybe I will buy gold in the future.
There's a real argument to be made, I think, that because before gold was only useful in terms of like jewelry and sort of like it wasn't able to produce anything really, from my understanding.
True.
But I think you could actually make an argument that with computers and the need for gold in computers, that's kind of changed, because you could say that, okay, while the actual gold itself isn't producing anything, the technology that it is a requirement in is producing something, and therefore, as a consequence of that, gold is sort of adding towards this production. I think you could probably, I think you
I
could make
think,
an argument
yeah,
like,
I've heard that, and I think that's correct.
and you could also, I
It's also
guess,
used in
sort of,
medicine, electronics,
yeah,
space.
it's used in medicine, like, really?
Apparently, yes. Like, yeah.
Huh.
How is gold used in that? I think if you're like sick and you get gold, you feel better, no?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe that's it.
This is some shiny gold.
Uh, oh, wow, gold has been used in medicine for thousands of years. Nowadays, gold components contribute to treatment of arthritis. Gold alloys are used in implants in various fields of medicine, and gold is used in immunology or something immunogold
So they're not just using
electron.
straight, they're not just using straight gold though. They're using, here, close that for a second so I can read it, if you don't mind.
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
They're using gold compounds, alloys, and colloid. I don't know what colloid is, but they needed to mix it with stuff, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's using gold alloys. I think alloys. I think gold has does gold have silver has antibacterial properties. Do you know that?
I didn't know
It's
that.
not just like a video game thing where like in The Witcher 3 you equip like a silver weapon to kill like undead monsters. In real life, silver has antibacterial properties.
That's kind of cool. Did
I
you know
forget. Yeah.
that they've actually managed to make gold? It's
Uh,
just the energy costs associated with it is so high that it's not like a feasible thing. It's not
yeah.
like an actual moneymaker.
How
Because
did the
they
alchemist?
well they
You
managed
have
to
to. Yeah. You finish. You finish.
they if I'm understanding this correctly, they managed to move the atoms around and stuff. I don't know if it was
The
atoms or what.
neutrons. It has to be neutrons, I think.
Well, yeah, they had like some like high-tech machine that allowed them to move it, and then they created two particles of gold. I don't know if it's probably not the correct words I'm using here, but it was like it wasn't like you could hold it. It was just like the tiniest. They just moved it just enough to make gold. And but it
That's
costs so much money for them to do it that it makes
yeah.
no sense to not just like mine it. It
Th
was like
that
some
that
sort of
doesn't
physics thing they were doing.
that doesn't sound crazy because I know like to make gold you would need to rearrange not like the electrons are easy to manipulate like
Hmm.
based on my very layman's terms of understanding, and then but you'd need to move around the neutrons, which but
Hmm.
like we can with fission, we can already split an atom. So I'm sure that like what you're saying doesn't sound crazy. I believe that they've done it. Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah,
Speaking about science, I want to quiz you, man.
let's hear it.
Can something move faster than light? Like can an electron? So light has no mass.
Okay.
That's yeah. So in a vacuum, nothing can move faster than light, apparently. But like I learned that in certain mediums like water, electrons can move faster than light. Does that even make sense to you?
That doesn't make sense to me because I was under the impression that nothing moved faster than light.
In a vacuum, apparently that's true. But like they can move faster than light in water, in possibly probably other mediums, but I know they can do it in water, which is so weird.
That seems like there's something wrong with that.
In water, light travels at 75% of the speed it would in a vacuum
Oh, so
of outer space.
the light needs to be in water as well.
No, like in water, if you had a race between photons and electrons, under certain conditions, electrons can move faster.
Hmm. Interesting. That's weird.
I yeah,
Well,
I think it happened.
none of it beats like quarks that just mysteriously appear in different areas,
I
teleporting
don't know.
across the
I
universe.
have no idea how quarks are like electrons are our electrons are made of quarks, all right?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. To be honest, like probably what I just said is wrong in some way that
I don't
that
know
I
either, but
don't know about. Just I was under the impression that like certain when you get small enough, things just sort of start falling apart from what I've been told.
I
Physics
was
doesn't
com-
really work the same.
it's okay, man. I was wrong. Electrons are not made up of quarks. Quarks, on the other hand,
I don't know
make
what
up
quarks
protons
are.
and neutrons.
Hmm.
I fundamentally I also don't know, but like I know there's weird quarks.
Hmm.
Like I think there's actually a quark called weird.
Is it possible?
A strange
So,
quark.
a strange quark. Hmm.
It's a real thing.
That's
Is
strange.
the
Why?
It's the third lightest of all quarks, a type of elementary particle. Strange quarks are found in some atomic particles called hadrons. There you
Hmm.
go, man.
Cool. Well,
You didn't know that?
we should maybe sort of shift back to the business topics because
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah, yeah.
all
Okay,
the
okay,
viewers are
okay,
going to be
okay.
like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, true, true,
That's
true.
interesting though. All that physics stuff is like, I don't know. There's something kind of interesting about the fact that even though we have such a broad understanding of so many things, it's still so confusing to us.
Yeah. Anyways, so uh,
Cybersecurity. Well, let me have my point here.
oh, you can
Um,
share your screen if you want to show me
no,
something as
I
well.
don't have anything on my screen.
Okay,
I
okay,
just have a cue card that I wrote some notes on. So I
okay.
was reading some annual reports from
Yeah,
couple cybersecurity companies,
yeah.
and I listened to a podcast, a different podcast. I wish I knew which one it was, but actually maybe it's on my phone somewhere. Well, I don't have my phone on me, but they were saying that, oh, here it is. It is the Cybersecurity Simplified podcast, and the episode I listened to, one of the uh, one of the things they mentioned was that there's this whole big push to get AI into cybersecurity with
Yeah.
the idea that it'll be able to solve a lot of the problems people are experiencing. It'll be really fast at picking up stuff and whatever, and also it'll be able to replace sort of legacy softwares that are wearing out and not being useful and that sort of thing, allowing them to centralize on one platform. All these sort of like buzzwords, but
Yeah.
what people are missing and what these cybersecurity companies are missing is how do you protect the data that the AI is collecting in order to make its decisions. So there's this protecting the data outside of it, but the actual data that the AI is collecting isn't being protected properly, which I thought is
You
like,
reminded me of something that I will talk about in a moment,
all
but
right,
do
because
you want
like,
to build on that?
well, because when an AI collects data in order to sort of build its algorithms and stuff like that, it has sort of like a pool, I guess. I don't know. There's probably some words that they use specifically that describes this, but it collects it all into like a data pool,
Yeah.
and that is now sort of that's now being taken from the company that's bought this AI, right? So all of their data is being protected from the AI, but what's protecting the AI? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't that that's a problem faced by all companies that collect data, even if they're not using AI? Like what are the
No, but the
controls on
difference
it
is that
on?
you now have your data in two separate places.
But is the AI proprietary or is it a service?
Well, no, hackers who are trying to like get your data aren't gonna, because you can buy well, I don't know. I know you can buy services that'll just install AI into your company, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I
Okay,
just know
but
that that's something they mentioned was like kind of an issue that's not being addressed yet.
let me take what you said and see if I understand it because I don't I think I maybe don't understand it. Let's say I'm a cybersecurity company and I
Hmm.
have my own in-house AI that does something for me and I'm feeding it user data. Okay. So
Hmm.
I as the company already have the user data, which may be problematic, and I'm going to bring up an instance later where it was, but I already have this user data. So what's the increased risk?
That's not the kind of AI, I don't think. I
Okay, so
think,
it's like a third party thing.
well, no, if I'm a cybersecurity company and I purchase your security, as a big company, this is not for like individuals. If I'm a big company that purchases your AI, I think what it is that I think they they take a copy of their AI that's, I guess, proprietary, and then they put it into your company's sort of like online presence, and then from there it protects. And then I think the way it works is that when they find issues, they share with the main company what the
Yeah,
issues were and how they solved it, and then that gets spread out to all the other AI, which isn't the problem. The problem is that once you've instituted this AI into your company, it now has access to your data and it's
yeah,
collecting that data in a separate pool that is not protected.
yeah.
Not
That
with
could
the
make sense.
cybersecurity company, but with the AI
Yes.
itself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so basically, I'm a cybersecurity company, and you're like OpenAI, or I'm just going to use OpenAI as a placeholder. So in my cybersecurity company, I
Well,
want
no,
to
it
do
would
some
make more
up.
sense to say that I'm Ford. So like a company like Ford or just some random company. No, I'm not an AI company, right?
So then I still don't. Here's how what I
Because
thought you said.
cybersecurity companies are making AI security options. Like
What do
cybersecurity
you?
companies are becoming AI companies,
Okay.
right? So like if I'm
Yeah, but
Ford and I want my cybersecurity to be handled by an AI because I think it's
yes,
going to be safer,
yes.
then all of my Ford data is being used by this AI in order to make sure it's secure and safe. However, it's protecting it from my end, but what's protecting the AI? Because the AI has to collect all that data, right? And it puts it in its own pool
But
of
when you
data.
say its own pool, that's still controlled by the cybersecurity company because it's proprietary. So, like, what's the real increased risk? Because the cybersecurity company probably has access to a tremendous amount of information already.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I didn't
But
understand what
you know
that
what's,
podcast was saying. It
but what
just seemed
I
like,
think,
yep, let's
right?
hear it.
There is a scarier thing where let's look at you're Ford, okay? And
Okay.
you want me to do something for you, whatever exactly I do as a cybersecurity company. And I say, okay, in my company, we are going to use an AI that is owned by some other company in our systems to do some optimizations. You know, like we're going to use some kind of joint venture or some type of services from like OpenAI, for example. So now when I get your data, you're not just giving it to me. That data is also shared, possibly. We don't like in some way it opens you up to risk because that information is shared with also AI that's owned by OpenAI, for example.
Hmm.
So I see there is risk in that. With your thing, there it doesn't seem like as big a deal, but I don't know, like maybe I don't understand. But yeah, that's a good point because uh, legally, I don't know what there's probably legal precedent for like what like what they're supposed to share and how they're supposed to share it and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
that could be an issue.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like it's a field that specifically for cybersecurity, it seems like a field that's sort of evolving very quickly, you know?
Yeah,
And like I was looking at reviews of different cybersecurity companies by like people who worked for either for the cybersecurity for those companies or who worked for like other tech companies or other just big companies that were using their security. And it seemed like the biggest company, Palo Alto, everybody just
yeah.
doesn't like what they provide, and supposedly the quality of their products have gone down pretty significantly over time,
Hmm.
as well as their customer support being trash, and just every new update coming out with lots of bugs, supposedly. That's what they were saying.
Does Palo Alto use AI to do their stuff?
They're starting to try to, yeah.
Do you remember what they're using AI for?
Well, I'm not referring to their AI specifically. I'm just saying their products in general.
Hmm.
Because I don't know
Oh,
if they're implementing AI yet or not. I don't know anything about that. I was more just talking about like the product reviews. It seems like there's sort of space for other companies to come in and say, "Hey, we are offering a better product, and we're able to support you more individually than what this big company is able to provide." You know what I mean?
oh yeah, no, I do know what you mean. So like under the Porter's five framework model, there's a lot of threat for new entrants, or there's a lot of, or maybe there's not threat to new entrants, but and the people that are already there uh, can easily gain a competitive advantage. So like it's evolving with AI to be a more competitive industry. Is your point?
I think, and now this is all speculation. I think the problem is that if you're a big company, you can't go with a small cybersecurity company because you've got too much data to manage, and a small company can't manage it all.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think you're forced to go with these bigger companies.
Okay.
And so the bigger companies get a bit of a moat just because of that, right? Just because the
Yes.
customers themselves have have a limited option, you
Yes.
know?
There's not a lot of power for consumers, but with AI, the consumers are gaining more power in the sense that other companies can now cater their needs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what
So
happens.
that's what it sounds like the implication is, right? Or am I
Yeah.
misunderstanding?
No, no, I think you're right about that. I think it'll change. I don't know, like how resource heavy is having an AI system implemented as a cybersecurity option, right?
But you
Because
don't need to.
if the problem is that if you're a big company with a lot of data, you can't go with a little guy because they don't have the resources to review and protect it all. Does AI options reduce the resource needed and
What if
therefore
you did?
allow those smaller companies to be competitive?
It may if you do AI as a service. So like if I had my own in-house AI, I don't know. But let's say there's already companies who are selling AI as a service. So if they can help me with my optimizations and helping me uh, do whatever the hell I do with consumer data, then yeah, that's a much lower cost to
Hmm.
me as the cybersecurity company than having my own in-house AI. I just have AI as a service, so I pay
Hmm.
you monthly for some things.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know,
So
man.
yeah, like the answer is like yeah, like they can probably maybe with AI as a service they can do it like affordably.
Hmm. Yeah, I also heard that they're saying that if the AIs can all communicate with each other, essentially,
Like on Tinder, like for
yeah,
Tinder for
literally,
AI.
if they can all communicate with each other, what'll happen is that nobody's AI will be significantly better than anybody else's, because as soon as any company makes sort of like a change that's advantageous, all the other ones will communicate with it and copy it immediately. And so it'll sort of create this situation where all the products are basically the same product.
I kind of see what you're saying. Yeah, like I don't know if I'd say like if the AI can communicate with other AI, but like if I have an open source AI project and you own an AI company, you can see my source code and go, oh look,
Yeah.
I'm going to copy that. I don't know if
I
AI
don't know
can make
how,
changes.
well, here's what I'm thinking. I don't know how realistic that is, just because I think what's going to happen is you'll get a lot of specialized AI. You're not going to have just like one, like I don't think it's going to be as valuable or as easy to do where you have just one AI that's capable of doing everything. I think what'll happen is you'll get lots of AI that are like industry specific, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, but
And
I
so
can see that.
if it's industry specific, it won't necessarily be capable of talking to the other AI because that was never the point of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it'll never have learned how to do that in the first place.
true. Interesting. Fair.
But then I guess then that means that the previous problem of all the products being the same won't be the case because they'll be looking for specialization instead of just like broad uh, uh, capabilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're
I
saying.
wonder how like Stockfish, the chess AI, how it would do against ChatGPT.
It probably destroyed ChatGPT.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, probably. That's what I'm thinking as well. But I'm guessing that's an example of like a specialized AI being more valuable and more useful than a general AI. You know what I mean?
But is Stockfish an AI?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's
I've
not.
never heard
Maybe
of
I'm wrong. Maybe it's not.
it. I don't
I
know
was
what
under the
makes
impression
something
that
an
it was.
AI.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Like fundamentally, I don't really, I don't know these words. Like, oh, and therefore, yeah, it is an AI. So Stockfish is a chess engine that is free and open source. It is available for a variety of desktops and mobile platforms. Stockfish is capable of playing chess and therefore can be considered an AI.
Hmm.
However, prior to the latest version, Stockfish was not a machine
The
learning.
last version.
Yeah, but so apparently the newest version, this doesn't apply to that. But
Hmm.
so I'll read. However, prior to the last version, Stockfish was not a machine learning or neural net brand of AI. The latest version of Stockfish, Stockfish NNUE, is a combination of neural net evaluation and traditional alpha beta tree search.
Hmm. I don't know what that
Okay.
means.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool
I
though. Yeah. Hmm.
I,
I wonder
I
how closely AI can mimic like neural pathways and like connections. I don't know if that's maybe an ignorant question that doesn't really make any sense, but because isn't the if the objective is like creating a mind, how closely is the technology that we're using to do that able to actually mimic like what an actual brain does? You know what I mean?
I think
In
the
terms of
like a
neural connections and learning ability, because it seems just way better than us. You know what I mean?
no, I don't know because like your brain does more than just thinking, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
Like because like in your brain, in the hold on, I used to know this. There's parts of a neuron that ooh, yeah, the neural synapse, man. So
Mm,
in the neural synapse, this part which has a name, and this part of another neuron which also has a name, I think the dendrite. I don't remember, but it releases these neurotransmitters, and these aren't just for I don't even know how this isn't just thinking. I don't even know how this causes thinking, but like this also affects your like perception due to emotions or your perception like for example, if you take a drug like a mind altering substance, which it releases for example, I think LSD releases a lot of serotonin, and
hmm
that affects your perception of reality. So I don't know. I think an AI is like a completely different thing. I don't think you can really compare them.
hmm.
But
Yeah,
I don't know because like AI is a word that's thrown around a lot, and
yeah.
I it doesn't always mean the same thing, you know?
It's a bit of a buzzword. Anytime anybody
Yeah.
wants to raise money for their new venture, they start talking about AI.
Yeah, I'm gonna use this is a podcast like powered by artificial intelligence. I think that I'm artificially intelligent, so
Yeah, man. All
anyway,
right.
yeah.
The next point I had written down here was the Tesla earnings call.
Wait. Can I
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
when you were talking about the issues with data security,
Hmm.
you
Oh, I heard about
reminded me.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, the 23andMe filed for bankruptcy, and in court, isn't this lady's sister like wasn't she the CEO of YouTube at one point? And
And Wojcicki.
like
How do
isn't
you
her
pronounce that name?
sister Wojcicki, no? Wasn't her sister at one point the CEO of Twitter?
I have no idea.
I'm almost sure, dude. I'm almost
Hmm.
you want to bet on it? I'll bet you
No, I
some.
don't
I'll
even
bet you
know.
it's right.
I have no idea who that person is.
If I'm not right about this, I'm never like that's it. I'm never right about anything. That's how I was right. Her sister
Oh,
Susan
okay, nice.
Wojcicki. This lady was the CEO of YouTube. This whole family is actually so one of these is Susan and one of these is Anne, and they're both like CEOs. One of 23andMe and one was YouTube, and I don't know what they're doing now. And then the other one is a university professor at some accredited institution. So, and
Hmm.
she look, oh, it
Probably
goes full circle, dude. She was born. Where was she born?
in Palo Alto,
Palo Alto.
California. That's hilarious.
Anyways, yeah, the company went bankrupt, and in court, they won the right to sell the user data. And in this case, the user data is like your genome
Yeah,
to
yeah.
pay off creditors, which is like I remember learning. I did a diploma for
Hmm.
biotechnology for some who knows why I did that. And I remember my professor, someone with a PhD, he worked at York. I think his name was Adam or Andrew. I don't remember.
Hmm.
I think Adam. Anyways, he was so passionate when we learned about bioethics. He's like, these services, 23andMe, I trust them. Like, they're not going to sell your data. They're not going to do that. And now here we are in 2025,
Yeah.
and he was wrong.
Oh no.
So you know what we can do?
The problem is he
But
wasn't in business, man.
no, but
If he was in
I am in
business, he'd know.
business.
Yeah.
So
If he was in business,
Atriarch
he'd know these people are crazy.
Atriarch gave me a free business idea that I'm passing on to you.
Yeah,
So
what's
what
that?
we can do is we can buy the user data,
Hmm.
okay? And then we can open a subscription service where you pay us to hold your bio data and not actually sell it to anybody. And then if you
Oh my
don't pay us,
gosh.
we go bankrupt and we sell your data.
It's nice.
Nice, man. That's the economy, man.
That's the way the economy works.
Yeah, that's great. Anyways, you had another point and I interrupted you.
Could you trademark your data? I don't know. Maybe this is like
Can you
a dumb
trademark your
question.
DNA?
Well,
I
my
don't.
point is, if you have
No,
somebody
no.
else holding onto your data,
But that's a good
and then
point,
other
Ryan.
people try to use it, you can sue them and say, "Hey, I've got the rights to this. You can't use that."
I've never heard anybody ask a question so fundamental to our capitalist society. Then can I trademark my genome? Like, look, it's not even. Look at my screen. It's not even
It's
like.
not even coming up.
Oh,
Yeah.
can I? Hold on, man. Genome. Can I trademark this? Like,
You wrote geome.
oh my God, that's embarrassing. I don't know how to spell genome. I think that's it.
I have no idea. Looks about right to me.
I don't even. Indeed. Uh, uh, I don't think you can. I don't think you can trademark
Hmm.
your genome.
Hmm.
Wow.
A patent on your DNA. Look at that. Here, go up a little bit. Yeah.
This one?
NBC News. Right below that one.
Oh, okay.
A patent on your DNA. What the Supreme Court ruling means to you. Outlaw human gene patents. Patents, not patents. Huh. Oh, they were doing this
Uh,
all the way back to 2013. So what did they rule? Can you
I
patent
don't
your
even
DNA?
know.
What does that
Oh
even
no. So
mean? So
can
that people
someone
can't
else?
clone you?
I don't know. Can someone else patent your genes? The Supreme Court is scheduled to rule sometime this month on that question. A suit filed against this person for its patent on the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene mutations, which raise the risk of breast, ovarian, and certain other cancers. Uh, okay. Opponents of patenting human DNA say a ruling in favor of Myriad will mean companies can
I
own
think,
your genes,
yeah.
even though experts say it is more complicated than that.
Hmm.
Uh, how the fuck do you like? What is it? What are the implications of patenting? Because anybody can have this. No, it's
If
not
I'm
just.
patented, I guess you can't clone me or like,
No, but Ryan, this isn't your entire genome. This is just there's words for these, and I forget the words, but this is just a small part of your. It's a very these
hmm,
two things, for example, are very small parts of your total genome. So like, it's not like a whole. You can't clone you with just this. I'm saying,
with just the BRCA1. I see. So
yeah,
they basically say that's crazy.
this is a gene, no? This is a gene.
So it
Yeah, this is a gene. Genes
patented
make up a genome.
genes gene mutation. That's crazy.
But what the fuck does that mean? Like, Like, what are the implications of that?
That also brings to mind genetic manipulation, because if you can patent certain techniques and outcomes for genetic manipulation, does that mean the person who's born, their data is now proprietary?
I
Because you could maybe reverse engineer the techniques and the stuff used in order to receive the result of that person, and therefore it would be like a patented thing. And so if you tried to take their DNA and research it, you would get sued and you wouldn't be allowed to, even though it's a person that's maybe not even connected with that company beyond the fact that their parents tried to use genetic manipulation with whatever service that they provided.
dude, I
So
don't know,
even
but
even after
as
you're born,
you
you're
know,
you're still considered proprietary.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
Like
if
if
that's
I
I don't know if that's legit or not,
Okay,
but
so the Supreme Court announced in a unanimous decision that genes cannot be patented. So,
mm.
so we this isn't an issue, I guess, but let's pretend this never happened, just to have like a
It
mind
is
experiment.
is patented and proprietary the same thing?
No,
So what's the difference?
I don't even know if it makes sense to say, is my genome proprietary? I guess my genome is proprietary. Like patented means there are like someone legally owns it, I believe. Like I don't remember the exact definition. But I'm pretty sure it's related to legal ownership.
Okay, so a patented invention is protected by a legal document granting the inventor exclusive rights to make, use, and sell their creation for a limited period, typically 20 years. In
Yeah, okay.
contrast, proprietary information or technology is confidential and not publicly known, giving its owner a competitive advantage and may be protected by various means, including patents, copyrights, and trade secrets. So
Okay,
it's just not a legal thing, it's just proprietary. Or sorry, no, it is a legal thing, but it's not. So proprietary. So patents would fall under proprietary stuff. It's like a subsection of proprietary.
I oh I guess yeah, we can say that.
Hmm.
Well, the reason I don't want to say that is because uh like I can also patent something and then say that anyone can use it, no? And then it would be
Yeah,
open source.
but that's your choose. You can choose to do what you want with your proprietary information. You know what I mean?
No, no. Well, I think you're using the word proprietary wrong, no? Because if I make my proprietary information open source, it's not proprietary anymore. Or I guess I get what you're saying actually. Anyways, yeah.
So I just looked up proprietary because I think we're both
Yeah.
not really understanding. It
Oh
just
fuck.
says the dictionary just says relating to an owner or ownership. So it doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
have to be private for it to be proprietary. You just
No,
have to
it
be the one
does.
who you just have to be the one who owns it.
Oh,
Private, by private I mean like the data is hidden secret. I don't mean private in terms of like public or private.
I don't know anymore. Okay.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
if I
interesting.
patented your genome, right?
Yep.
If you did anything, like, shouldn't you have to pay me money? Like, let's say you're like, oh, I started a business. It'd be like, yeah, with the fucking genome that I own. So,
Yeah.
go
Yeah, I
ahead,
don't
dude.
know, man. I don't. That'd be
This
crazy.
is a
That's
very
slavery at
lucrative.
that point.
This is a very lucrative field.
Yeah,
We should
it's
start
crazy.
patenting like random, like just like
What happens
I
if
don't know.
you patent your sperm and then you go to a sperm bank and just like have
Patent.
300 kids?
Does that? I guess. Well, it's actually I don't know. I mean, did they
I
pay
mean, this is
you?
probably all ridiculous, and there's probably like very clear reasons why the
No,
law
wait, wait.
wouldn't allow any of that.
But hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. So like,
But
so if I patented my sperm, but then I donated it, I'm. What are the legal implications of that? Because I think that I donated it, so no one has to pay me anything.
what was the outcome of this trial? Because they
It
would have
was
set precedent.
unanimous. Well, that's why I said this was hypothetical because they unanimously decided that you cannot patent genes. So I
Okay, yeah, okay.
suppose that that would also mean you couldn't patent a genome, I guess.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, man. So unless you've got more points on that, do you want to move on to the next point here?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right. So this is the interesting one, the laugh at Musk time,
Oh my God,
basically.
I also have a laugh at Musk time. Yeah. Okay, you go, you go, you go.
So they had their earnings call. Tesla had their earnings call, I think a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and their profits have dropped since the beginning of 2025 by 71%
Okay.
compared to last year, and their
Nice.
sales have dropped 20% over the first 3 months of 2025. Sorry, their profits have dropped for 2024, I guess, by 70%, 71%,
Yeah.
and their sales have dropped by 20% over the first 3 months of 2025, which is insane.
Yeah. So
Supposedly in the earnings call, he was saying that he's going to pull back from his involvement in Doge. And he was also like just saying the typical like, oh, we're going to be worth more than anybody else, and we're all like the future kind of stuff.
Oh,
oops. Yeah, apparently he is taking some kind of step back. But man, so you let's you're very you're such a what's it called? Well, I'm trying to troll you. You're a
Anti-Musk.
tool. You're a tool of the mainstream media. You
Yeah,
know, really, they've
a tool.
experienced negative growth.
What do you mean negative growth?
Like there's is the company
Oh,
growing? Yeah, it's
yeah, okay.
growing negatively.
It's growing negative. Okay, I get it.
I'm not a Musk apologist. I just wanted to
That's
troll you.
crazy. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's
But
hilarious.
I actually don't know about what you're talking about. I only know about this interview we did. So do you want to tell me and the listeners more? Like, I don't know about
Well,
this,
this
the
is their
thing that,
earnings call that they did like 2 days ago, right? Um,
yeah, I didn't
it
watch it
was supposed to be
or
a really
listen to
big,
it or read
a
it.
really important one. I didn't listen to it either. Atriok, the YouTuber, he he did a video about it. I
Oh,
can't remember
okay.
if it's on his channel Big A or if
Yeah,
it's on his main channel Atriok. I can't remember which one I saw it on, but he basically just listened to it. I don't know if he had it pre-recorded or if he was listening to it live and just
yeah.
commented over it every once in a while. It was kind of hilarious because it's like it's just him the whole time it's just Musk trying to finesse and like find some way to say, oh no, it's not really a problem. He said that the protests outside of Tesla dealerships were paid for by the left.
I think I heard that.
So he's like, as if these guys are being paid to protest outside of Tesla dealerships because there's just nothing wrong. Nobody actually has reasons to protest. You know,
What do
he's
you think
only
the
slightly
hourly rate?
meddling.
What do you think the
Yeah,
hourly rate is to protest? Are they hiring?
listen, the left they tend to be like raise the minimum wage guys. I think.
Yeah, dude, like if you want to pay me to protest outside of a place, as
Listen,
long
it's
as I'm
probably
not
good
the
money.
only one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, like, what are the benefits? We have to ask ourselves, right? Like,
yeah.
am I a contractor or is this like an employed gig? Like, does it go to my CCP?
Can I
Like
protest part
my
time
Canadian?
or
Ah, that's
a
true.
part
Like, what are
time
my
protest
hours? Are they
or yeah.
flexible or is it on call to
And
answer?
am I
Probably on
allowed to
call.
outsource? Can I outsource to like
Can I outsource? Yeah, and like, what are my vacation times like
yeah.
what if it's like a protest season and I want to go to Hawaii or something.
Yeah. This
Oh,
is
and
like
like
that video of the guy who advertised his services for coming to your funeral. So depending on how much you wanted him to mourn, he would
yeah, yeah.
he'd pay him more.
Oh yeah, yeah, like are there rates like
Yeah.
if I have a
If I just
free
come
house
with a
is that
sign, I get a certain amount of money. But if I come with like Molotov cocktails and start chucking them, do I get more for that?
yeah, is there like yeah, like it could be like commission, like is it a
Yeah.
commission gig? Yeah, maybe it's not even
If I
hourly. I think
deface the building, do I get more and my bail covered?
yeah, like yeah, it might be like a freelance gig. Like I just advertise my services. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah,
Wow, that's funny.
yeah.
Was there
It's
anything else in
ridiculous.
the Tesla
State of
earnings
the world
call?
is crazy. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I just saw the Atriarch video. It was entertaining, you know.
Cool.
That's
Okay.
basically it. All I had to say about Musk, really.
I also
I
saw
just thought it was
Atriarch.
interesting that he needs to pull back. Like, what did he expect was going to happen? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
have
what did he
no
think?
idea.
What did
That's
he
what I've
think
been
the
asking.
outcome
That's
was
what
going to
I've been
be?
asking.
Yeah.
That's what I like every time we've talked about it. I'm like, what is his like? What does he think the conflict? I also don't know. And
Like the outcome was
I
so clear. Like maybe not to the extent that we've seen, but it was pretty clear that it wasn't going to go well for him, I think. Looking
yeah,
back on it, like maybe
I
it's a
think
situation
he
where hindsight's 2020, but I mean, he switched all of the Tesla buyers are left. He decides to go full on right. Nobody on the right buys Teslas, basically. They're not
yeah,
EV people, right?
we've talked
So
about
he's
this. Yeah,
alienated his entire, yeah, we've talked about this before, but it's just like it's so crazy. Like I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's
What have you
probably
what's this video
I,
you've pulled up here?
I also saw Atriarch. This is really Atriarch like creating content by vicariously through us. But
Yeah, yeah,
I
literally.
I also saw him talk about this interview, so I watched a lot of it. And so this
Hmm.
is not related to the earnings call, but it is like oh wait, what the hell? This is not the proper interview. This is from 2023.
Hmm.
What?
Dealbrook Summit is maybe one that happens yearly. It's an annual summit, maybe.
No, 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 no. Oh, like because he recently have I got my timelines confused? Didn't he didn't he recently tweet that thing where he uh Elon Musk, this can't be 2023. Elon Musk like there was a tweet
What
he
did he
did.
tweet?
It was something like someone was like somebody tweeted like uh I want anti-Semites to tell me what they think. And some guy was like, I don't care. It was in relation to Israel and the Palestine conflict in Gaza. And someone
Hmm.
was like talking like mad smack, talking very, like pretty like negative things about the Jews, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Elon was like, Elon Musk, I think he said, this is the actual truth. Here it is. When
Hmm.
did he say this? This wasn't 2023. I swear this was recently.
Oh, you know what? I did hear. I think you showed me this when we were in the library.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my. So like this happened a long time ago?
No, not that long ago.
2023. That's a long time ago.
Well, actually, yeah, I guess that that is a long time ago. I remember
Oh wow.
you telling me about this, I think.
You know that actually makes it weirder because in this interview, he at one point he's like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm actually philo-Semitic. He's like, I
What
love the Jews. But then after this,
what
when did
is
Elon Musk
philo? Oh,
like
I
he's
see.
it's just he's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
it's
the
the
Jews.
yeah, yeah.
But when did Elon Musk do his famous remember his famous salute?
Oh, yeah. That was like right at the like
It's after
during the
2023.
elections, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah, so
during
it's
the recent election, so that would have been
yeah,
2024.
yeah, so like or 2025.
2024, 25, yeah. Some
So then how is he
I don't know
saying he loves the
how
Jews?
pardon?
How is he saying he loves the Jews then? I don't really
Yeah, I don't know.
understand.
It's crazy. I think he's a liar. Is the main.
I wanted to talk about this. I thought it was recent, but it wasn't.
Is that we've been friends for
I can't
Can
hear
you
it at
hear
all.
that? Oh,
No,
you can't hear it?
no.
Ah,
It's all good.
I oh well. Well, I have timestamps anyway, so I'll just talk about it.
All right.
But now that we know this is in the past and it doesn't actually make sense,
Oh,
like
there was another thing. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry. Before I'm forgetting, because I forgot to write it down. The
yeah.
antitrust thing that was happening. Or
Oh
was it
yeah, with
antitrust or
with
Google?
Meta.
And they're getting sued here, or sorry, not here in the States. But there was also a big lawsuit that was happening in the EU with those guys.
I think it's with Meta, no?
Yeah, yeah. In the EU though, I think it was Google and Meta.
Uh, the antitrust trial against social media giant Meta began. So this is the US. I don't know in the EU what's going on. April 14th, 2025. in federal court in Washington, D.C. And I've heard that maybe the a repercussion of this is they could separate Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, yeah, which would be kind of a big deal.
It'd be a huge deal.
Yeah. How big is Instagram now? It must be huge. Like if you were to separate it, how big of a company would they be? Because they're way big. They're way more. I don't know if they've got more like accounts, but they're way more popular than Facebook, from my understanding. At least nobody I know uses Facebook really in relation to Instagram.
Facebook has 2.9. Also, you have to consider that other countries use Facebook more, even younger people in other countries, due to some reasons. Like
Hmm.
I remember hearing, I think it's the Philippines, but it might be Malaysia or another country. Uh, like Facebook wanted this was like 2013 maybe. Basically, those countries didn't, whatever country this was in this example, didn't have good access to internet. So Facebook was like, we're going to subsidize like data plans so that you can, and it would make it easier for you to access Facebook. So
Hmm.
in those countries, even younger people use Facebook a lot more
Hmm. Interesting.
because that's how it evolved there. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's still the case now, but I just want us to keep that in mind. Like in other countries, the demographic of ages might be different, but
Yeah.
according to this overview, Facebook has 2.9 million monthly users, while Instagram has 2.9 billion, while Instagram has 2 billion.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
so many people.
yeah. If we
That's like
assume that
crazy.
if we assume that 50% of those people have accounts on both platforms, which are maybe even high, that's 3.9 billion people.
Hmm.
What's that in percent of the global population?
I don't know. Well, yeah, I have no idea. They didn't they just say that they think that maybe the global population has been miscounted because they haven't really
Or
counted rural
you told me
areas
that.
effectively?
You told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
So if the population is 8 billion, right? We could just do
Uh,
3.9 divided by 8.
is it 8 billion still?
I
The
think so.
estimate?
I think so.
Yeah. So
So
we'll just put
3.9
8 point.
divided by 8 is 48%.
What?
Yeah. It's
What?
point 0.4875.
No, 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 no.
I just did 3.9
Uh,
divided by 8.
that can't, that doesn't,
Why does that?
that seems like
I,
too many people. But you're right. That is right. Okay. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
What,
Half of
what's the
all
per
humans uses Facebook
But
or
but but those are
or
monthly, bro. Those are monthly. So
oh,
like
so maybe
so
more
that
than
means
that.
that what percentage point did you throw out?
I did 3.9 divided by 8. It gave me 48%.
So that means that 48% of the world uses of the human population uses Facebook and or Instagram monthly.
Yeah. Hmm. That's crazy.
Well, how much more do they want to fucking grow?
Yeah, I don't know how much more you can grow at that point.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Imagine the amount that is so much power in the hands of like just one company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I wonder
first you
at
get
what
the
point does a country become more powerful? Like, how powerful does a company have to be more powerful than Facebook? Because I think there's a very, or to be more powerful than Meta, because there's probably a pretty strong argument to be made that most countries don't have the kind of pull, sway, sort of power as Meta does. So at what point does the line get crossed and countries are more powerful again?
well, I mean, like
Militarily would be.
yeah. So, like in terms of soft power, I you can maybe make a case, but in terms of
But you could
hard
actually
power,
say hard power too,
I
because
nah,
you can
how I have an
hire
army.
mercenary. You can hire mercenary forces, which is maybe a crazy like we're
I
talking
don't know
theoretical
how
dystopian
easy.
like how
What was
easy?
the what was
Pretty easily,
the
I think.
Russia is was paying for? I don't. What's that force? The
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, I
leader is
know which one
dead
you're
now.
talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the Wagner Group. The Wagner
Yeah.
Group. You think like Meta can hire the Wagner Group to do
No, but
stuff?
there no, but I mean, think about all those oil, all those ships that go through like where pirates are. They all hire mercenary forces, to shoot at the pirates so that they don't get like
I
boarded or
didn't know
whatever.
that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yep.
I so like Elon Musk then could he's like the most he's more powerful than a lot of governments if you could just do that.
I think even without just the soft power itself, there's so much that you could say that even without a military force, they're still more powerful than a lot of governments. I mean,
Interesting.
when you can basically buy a country, like you're kind of more powerful than that country in a lot of ways. Like if I can take my if I have $400 billion, I mean that's obviously not liquid though, so it's kind of
Keep saying
because like
something.
small bit what is the GDP of like small countries?
Uh, I don't
Maybe
know.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something else. While you're
Okay,
talking about the
GDP
okay,
of small countries varies significantly, but some of the smallest economies globally include Tuvalu, Nauru,
Tuvalu.
Tuvalu,
You know,
Nauru,
can I?
Marshall Islands, and Kiribati. As of 2025, their nominal GDPs are 79 million, 179 million, 294 million, and 333 million. So that is literally not even pocket change for these like super ultra rich people.
Can I say something interesting about Tuvalu?
Well,
Because
a little more
it's an
than pocket
interesting
change, but
place.
yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. Uh, so Tuvalu, do you know how they get most of their GDP?
How?
I've told you this, but you don't remember. Like, man, just take a guess. Just take a guess, dude. You can
Uh,
maybe a hint is think about like the letters in the country's name, and think about like these domain names like .com.
I vaguely remember you telling me this.
Yeah,
They
it's
were,
so cool.
t- explain it again, because it's like
Dude,
literally
dude,
on the
dude.
tip of
Okay,
my
okay,
tongue.
okay, okay. Okay. So when the internet was a new thing, now they have like open source domains, but these domains, a lot of them are registered to companies, especially before more recent times. Like I think .xyz is like a free domain, anyone can use it. But .ca, for example, is a Canadian domain, and like
Hmm.
I think .us is one in the USA, right? So if you want to go to Twitch, right? .tv, what country do you think owns this domain?
Tuvalu.
It's Tuvalu. So all these like anything .tv, they have to pay Tuvalu money to use this .tv. So that's how they were getting, and I think still getting like a huge portion of their GDP.
Hmm.
They just lucked
Yeah,
out, dude. They
that's
just
kind of
completely
hilarious.
that's crazy. And I think there's one country that's almost completely underwater, and I don't remember if it was Tuvalu or some other country.
Hmm.
I think it was Tuvalu, so they're having hard times. You
Hmm.
remember I showed you what's it called? Ah man, you know where you used to be able to buy land with Ethereum in like a virtual universe, the metaverse,
Oh,
I
I
think.
remember you were showing me that. Yeah,
I think didn't they didn't they like recreate Tuvalu in the metaverse?
yeah.
This is like a really old story. Anyways, I don't know if that's true or not, whatever, but that's how Tuvalu gets most of their money, and I thought that was
Hmm.
really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it is interesting. But yeah, I mean, like, even if you weren't to consider the fact that they've got higher GDP, they've got more money than like the GDP of entire countries. Think about like what something like Amazon could do if they were particularly vicious.
and
They could
no,
come
you're
in.
right. Yes,
Well, consider this. They could come in, and I don't know if they'd actually be able to do this or not, but theoretically, they could come in, open a bunch of Amazon, whatever, or Walmart. For actually, Walmart's a better example. Walmart, how they come into like little communities, and then it like destroys all the businesses there. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
if Walmart was just to open up like a ton of Walmarts over there, and then close them all all at once, You
Yeah.
could arguably, I mean, it would screw Walmart up. It would definitely screw Walmart up, but you could argue that it would just destroy the country because after a while they'd be very reliant on Walmart, right?
True. Yes.
And so you'd
Yes.
you just destroy their economy.
And we've seen this before in history, and this is what I was looking up when you were talking. So what you're saying isn't really that crazy, because
Hmm.
for example, and this is one example, and I asked ChatGPT. So basically, modern banking, a lot of modern banking, like double bookkeeping accounting, was invented during in Renaissance Italy, right? So you had some of these Italian bank families in Renaissance Italy, uh, getting like an incredible amount of money in places like Florence.
Wait,
So
hold on a second though.
yeah.
Double entry bookkeeping was not made in Italy.
Where was it
I
made?
was under the impression that it was one of the Nordic countries, like Sweden or
Let's
something.
let's look it up. Let's look it up.
All right, it says here, uh, it is Italy. Interesting. I thought it was one of the Nordic countries. I was under the impression that one of the Nordic countries invented it, and then they got kind of invaded by somebody else or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I mean, it was Italy, and I'm
Huh.
reminded now that Leonardo da Vinci's father, although I think he was technically a bastard, but it's believed that his biological father was an accountant. So if he
Yeah.
was adopted by his father, he would have been an accountant. So
Hmm. All right. Go
luckily,
on with the
and yeah, sorry.
go on with
Anyways,
your. I interrupted you. Let's
yeah.
see it.
Like during, and I'm not a historian, but
Hmm.
during this period when you had these incredibly powerful, very wealthy for the time banking families, these families were more powerful, like than some governments, like some
Yeah.
act,
Yeah.
like especially local governments. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, uh,
Yeah. And that's an example of just being rich enough. But it was a little different back then as well because they had like personal military forces. Like it wasn't like
but
military
you're
forces were a little easier to acquire just because they didn't have to make like nukes and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but who knows where the world's going? If you have all the most wealthy, powerful people on Earth saying, we should have our own, private police force,
Yeah.
maybe we will. Like the pendulum swings.
I bet you some of these big tech companies could also produce like pretty good hackers that could hack into different military
Maybe.
installations and do some damage. But
Yeah. The
yeah,
Pope
man.
also passed away recently.
Yeah, yeah, he did. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about. Oh, supposedly it looks really bad. It's another Atrioc thing. He's saying it looks
Oh
pretty
yeah.
bad on JD Vance because he was doing fine, and then JD Vance visited him, and he died like the next day,
Oh yeah, yeah. He
which is
wasn't
kind of
doing fine. Yeah, I think he had just gotten out of hospital.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And JD Vance gave him COVID.
Something I also heard that meme.
Yeah. All right,
Uh
man. I think
yeah.
we've been
I
doing
wanna
this for what's up?
I just want to mention very briefly that in that interview I was telling you about,
Yep.
uh, apparently this is 2023, but this is important. At 11 minutes, this guy interviewing him asks him about advertisers leaving Twitter, okay?
Hmm.
And he's like he says, go like quote, go fuck yourself to the advertisers. And the
Oh,
guy's
I've
kind of
seen that.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't know what to say, and he's like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to make it more clear. Just go fuck yourself. Leave. I don't care.
Yeah.
And like, basically, like, I think maybe Elon's play is that like it's okay if if Twitter's not making money, he's just gonna close it, basically.
Well, no, I mean, you know what he did? He he got his other company XAI that's way bigger
Yeah,
to purchase X to purchase Twitter, and so
yeah,
all the failings. This is another Atrioc thing.
yeah.
He discussed it. So
We
basically,
gotta watch out.
XAI
Yeah,
purchased Twitter to hide
yeah.
all the failings of Twitter, and when it goes bankrupt, it'll be just another expensive XAI.
Oh, which is, that has beneficial tax purposes,
Like they
anyways.
can just
Yeah,
hide all of the fact that it's doing so poorly because the costs. like because all the money involved with XAI, I guess, because
Yeah,
it's so much bigger, and so you
yeah,
can kind of, I guess,
yeah. But also, like
like
from an
cover up
accounting perspective,
things. I don't
it's
know.
good. Like from an accounting perspective, if the comp you can hold your losses. I think 3 years, maybe more. I don't know
Hmm.
in the U.S. how it works, but so that would be a huge expense, and they can that if the company's not profitable, they can carry that forward as a business loss, and it has beneficial tax implications.
Oh, hmm.
So it makes sense if you're going to have a company that's going to go bankrupt, it makes sense to have it owned by a profitable company you have.
Yeah. Supposedly Musk's done like a pretty good job of insulating himself and his wealth from uh Tesla,
Real, yeah,
essentially.
I don't know.
I mean,
Hopefully he
not
has.
all
I
of
mean,
it, obviously.
if he hasn't, it's going to be pretty bad. But
But supposedly he's been like slowly moving more and more of his stuff to his other companies, and Tesla is becoming more and more of just like, you know, just sort of a
yeah,
marketing thing.
yeah,
I don't know how true that is, but maybe a little bit of a conspiracy theory. Oh, here was the EU thing. This is routers.
okay.
Apple Meta fined as EU presses ahead with tech probes. So Apple was fined 500 million euros on Wednesday, and Meta was fined 200 million euros as European
For
Union antitrust regulators handed out the first sanctions under landmark legislation aimed at
oh yes,
curbing the power of big tech. The
it's
EU
Apple, right?
fines Apple and Meta. So
Yes,
EU
yes.
fines could stoke tensions with US President Donald Trump, who has threatened to levy tariffs against countries that penalize US companies. Trump's White House called the fines a novel form of economic extortion that the United States will not tolerate. They follow a
I
year-long investigation by the European Commission, the EU executive, into whether the companies comply with the Digital Marketing Act that seeks to allow smaller rivals into markets dominated by the biggest companies. So yeah.
Yeah, the case in America against Meta, which I assume is maybe the case in the EU, is that in the US there's like leaked there was leaked emails, and now they I guess those emails they were uncovered in investigation where Mark Zuckerberg, uh, like in a big company like Meta, if there's a competitor and you say in an email, we should buy this company out before they become competition, that's like a huge red flag. It's a huge antitrust red flag. So
Hmm.
apparently that's how they were communicating at one point openly at Meta. So that was a lot of the problem. And then that's
You'd
probably
think
maybe
it'd
the
be pretty
same.
easy for them to just say, "Hey, these guys look like they're doing a good job. We should buy them," because as a good future investment.
It it
Why would
it
they
depends the
expose
language.
themselves so easily like that?
I don't know. Maybe this was like who knows what date these emails were sent. Maybe it was like many years
Seems
ago.
just
Like
arrogance. Like maybe they're just
yeah,
arrogant,
yeah.
or maybe they
Maybe
just
it was
didn't
arrogant.
understand the antitrust
They
rules.
could have been arrogant or ignorant, or they just
Yeah,
who,
that's
it's like
crazy.
in that Signals group chat when they're like, hopefully this doesn't get out, and they didn't
Hmm.
think it would, and then sometimes things get
Yeah,
out. And then
yeah.
in the EU, the reason I believe that Apple antitrust was a problem is because of the Apple ecosystem. So I don't own any Apple devices, but apparently Apple makes it hard to leave their ecosystem, and
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
same reason that back in the day, I think in the early 2000s or the 90s, what's it called? Microsoft had a similar antitrust issue because before Excel, not Excel. What am I using? Edge before Explorer. Uh, you remember Internet Explorer?
Yep.
Yeah, before Internet Explorer, the main search engine was like I think it was called Net Navigator. So
Hmm.
what Microsoft did is they're like we're already the dominant operating system. Let's just make an internet browser, and we'll install it as default, and we'll make it really hard to to install another internet browser. So that's what they did, and they were like they had an antitrust lawsuit and they lost, but Net Navigator was already dead at that point. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think I'm gonna have to call it here. How long was our
Okay.
podcast today? I think it was
Probably pretty
pretty
long.
pretty long one. Yeah,
We have it doesn't tell me here, but
yeah. Mm.
probably it's maybe
Oh
two
no, it
hours.
tells you
Maybe we
in the bottom right, an hour
an
39.
hour 39. Maybe
Yeah,
we cut it up. But yeah, it's pretty
cool.
long.
Well,
All
this
right,
has
man.
been the Mostly Nonsense podcast with
Yeah.
Nicholas and Ryan.